Hey everybody, welcome to this week's GeekStorm. We are coming to you live, filmed live. Everything is filmed live from downtown Kokomo. We're at 111 East Sycamore, the heart of downtown Kokomo. We are in Kokomo Toys and Collectibles, one of my favorite stores. Mike, I know it's one of your favorite stores.
I'm here a lot.
We're just a couple doors down from Comics Cube, just right next door to American Hi-Fi, and just another door down from a bookstore that I don't remember the name of. That is, of course, called that bookstore.
Just had it and lost it.
That Neverwinter bookstores. Never more. Never something. It's not never. They're a fabulous bookstore, though, I can tell you that much, and maybe we'll talk about that at length next time. No, we definitely won't do that. Hey, this week there's a lot to cover because we took a couple weeks off. We came back, did a couple comeback shows, and then we took I think a week off or something like that. 2 weeks off. Okay, so there's a lot to cover this week, but I just want to say a big thank you to Todd and Amber for letting us be here all the time. We've been here for this is 258 episodes, I think, something like that, and we've been here for, I would say, 99% of them, if not all of them. So we really appreciate the space, the time, and just the geeky atmosphere that we can soak up while we're talking about geeky things. So if you have any needs at all in the toy, if you need the Kingdom, okay, it's only $25. What are you going to do with $25 today, Mike?
Okay, I got a real serious question.
Okay, go ahead.
Right to your left
Yes.
are the McFarlane's military figures.
Okay.
So upon first seeing this, I saw McFarlane's military, and I immediately thought, is this like a competition for the KISS Army?
Well, as we all know, KISS is Knights in Satan's Service, so that's not true. But I would say that's a McFarlane thing in which he is slapping his name on it for the hope of cashing in on the he's known for articulation, for sure. He's had many toys, many toy lines, and I don't know why he would. Maybe just an homage to the military that he wants to do. He's got an audience. He wants to make a couple dollars. I do not want to talk about Todd McFarlane. I can tell you. I can tell you.
Well, regardless, if you have never been to Kokomo Toys, you've got new things that you're not going to see in any box store, like McFarlane's military.
You're not gonna get that at Walmart, okay?
Or the Trick or Treat characters, or Bob Ross. You want a fully articulated Bob Ross action figure, complete with canvas and paints.
And Happy Clouds.
Yes, but beyond that, there's all kinds of vintage stuff.
Yes.
All the old Mego figures, Star Wars, G.I. Joe, they've got it all.
They have my first Mego over there. It was a Human Torch. I remember specifically going to the Toy Mart and wanting a Spider-Man. They were out of Spider-Man. I had to get a Human Torch. I enjoyed it. There's no Spider-Man, though. I did play with it.
Did you ever have a Sucker Man?
Yes, absolutely.
That was one of my favorite things.
Was that in the Stretch Armstrong line, maybe? Was that in that family of toys?
I don't know if it's the same company or not. But regardless, the first time I brought my wife here, she was off looking at Star Wars stuff, and I'm just wandering up there, and there it is.
Sucker Man.
It is now in my house.
Is it on your ceiling? Is it on your fridge?
No.
If you don't know, Sucker Man was basically a humanoid-looking figure, okay, made of kind of a translucent, I think reddish or pinkish maybe.
You had red, glow-in-the-dark, green,
so you
black.
had your choice, but his entire body surface is covered with suction cups, every bit of him. So if you threw him at something that was suction cup friendly, he was going to stick no matter how he landed, like this, or whatever, on his feet, on his butt, on his head.
It was the most awesome thing ever.
Sure.
My mom hated it because it would leave suction cup marks on windows and refrigerators. It was horrible.
Yeah, so those are the kind of things you'll find at a place like this and a place like Comics Cube is. You're going to walk in, you're going to see the new, and you're going to see the old. The nostalgia will bring you in and grab you, and you're like, oh, I had that. Oh, I remember that. Oh, I wish I had that type of thing. Well, now you can get it because you're an adult and you have monies, so do that. Anyway, on to this week's show and things we can talk about. There's a lot of talk right now with the pandemic that's going on and everything. One of the biggest industries that's hit is the movies.
Yep.
And that goes from the top down. That goes from the key grip. That goes from the guy that does the makeup all the way to the guy that gives you popcorn at the theater. So when are we going back? What will it look like when we go back? AMC has announced, I think a few days ago, what their rules are going to be for when they reopen, and they were quickly hit with some backlash and added to those rules. At first, the the thing that was controversial was whether or not patrons would be required to wear masks. They've already talked about limiting the number of people in the theater and things like that, but they did add after the fact that they were going to require patrons to wear masks if you're going to come and see a movie.
I still have a question about that, though.
Go ahead.
I get if requiring a mask as you enter, as you're buying your tickets, as
Right.
concessions are the main money maker for any movie theater.
Correct.
How are you going to eat popcorn, sip your Coke, have your icy if you're wearing a mask?
That's an excellent question, and I hadn't thought of that until you brought it up. My initial thought would be that they're going to require masks in the lobby, in the concessions, in the restrooms, anything that's not in the theater itself. But once in the theater, if I put 6 seats between me and you, I'll be able to take off my mask and eat my stuff and et cetera, et cetera. I didn't read that in there, but that's got to be what it's going to be. Because here's what I don't want to see. I don't want to see us to go back to the movies and it be a deal in which I'm constantly worried, or not worried, but looking around thinking, does that guy have his mask on? That guy took his mask off. Should I say something? Is it bothering me? Do I bother other patrons by getting up and going and talking to somebody or talking to him? Is that going to cause a fight? Somebody pulls a knife. The next thing you know, you have mass hysteria. So I don't know.
That really took a dark turn.
I know. And speaking of when we return to the movies, they've talked about some of the studios have started to say, well, we're going to make these classic movies available to get people back in the theaters. And I think that has it's partially to do with they're not necessarily ready to throw out a new release and it not make a lot of money because there are not a lot of people there. So I've heard about I think maybe Empire or some of the other Star Wars movies, some classic movies like Ghostbusters or Raiders, things like that are going to be in the theaters, and I think that's going to happen for a while until we transition into a big movie like Tenet, who had a date of I think July 15th or something like that.
17th originally.
Okay, so July 17th, and they've decided they're talking about, which means if it hit the Twitter sphere, it probably is going to happen if it leaked that much, that they're going to push it back to mid-August. Just because...
I thought I read just last night it was officially
done.
Okay,
there you go. So it just officially happened that they're going to push it back to mid-August because, again, studios want to make money. They've got millions and millions invested in a movie, a product, and to throw it out there where possibly a smaller number of people would see it than normal, then they don't want to take that chance. And I can understand that, especially with numbers rising that we're seeing. We're not really seeing a second wave because we haven't seen the end of the first wave. And then we're not going to get political with this, but this is science and not politics. It's not getting better. We haven't ended the first wave yet, and until that changes, we're not going to get back to normalcy. And that includes all the entertainment and geeky stuff we have and do. Now. What that does affect, though, is TV. People are staying home watching TV, or maybe they're not staying home from work to watch TV because we're getting back to work, but in your entertainment time that you would normally go out and see a movie or go do other activities, a lot of people are staying home and watching a lot of TV. So there's a lot of great TV on right now.
Disney Plus moved up the Hamilton release.
Yes, I'm very excited about that. I would probably never have the opportunity to go and see that unless I just wouldn't do it. It's something I'm more than curious about, something I'm more than interested in, but I'm not crazy about and wouldn't take a trip to go see it or anything like that. This is a chance with with Hamilton being released on Disney Plus and its original cast. I'm not sure if it's all original, but it's at least Lin-Manuel Miranda. And so I guess they filmed it over the course of about 3 shows. Cameras were on stage, so it's not the exact. It's not like they put a camera in a seat back in the theater. You do get camera movement around the actors on the stage and things like that. So it's not necessarily a production made for movie or made for TV, but certainly a combination of the two.
It'd be interesting.
Yeah, I want to see it. Have you ever seen the play itself?
I've not.
I haven't either, but a lot of my friends really like it. Shout out to Gail Peterson, who loves it, who's seen it many, many times in person and is a history buff. She can tell me, and I'll pass it on to you, how it translates from the original anyway.
I have to wonder also, Artemis Fowl was originally going to be released in theaters.
Sure, absolutely.
They released that on Disney Plus,
Yes.
and it has gotten horrible reviews.
And that's sad to me. Not sad. It is what it is. It's either good or bad. It doesn't have to be mollycoddled, as they say, just because it didn't get it in the theaters.
No, it seems like there's not you don't get the same amount of fanfare. If it had been released in theaters and bombed,
Yes.
oh my God,
Yes.
gloom and doom.
Yes.
It's on Disney Plus,
Yeah, that's tough. It's and I'm hearing specifically about this, and I haven't seen the movie yet, but I did read the first 2 books. I think there's 3 or 4 books. I did read the first 2 books, and I guess fan reaction, people who know the material anyway, and I hate saying things like that, but are upset because they completely homogenize this character. He's not an evil little kid. He's not a criminal mastermind necessarily. He's a lot more Harry Potter than he is Artemis Fowl. And so I haven't seen it, but I understand that they took a lot of that element out where you feel like this kid is doing the things he's doing because he's an evil mastermind, which is what he is in the books. He's a young child, but that's what he is in the books. So they've made it more of they Potterized it a little bit. Anyway, but Disney Plus, oh man, I have so enjoyed the Mandalorian, the gallery. Oh my goodness. When I watched the technology episode where they talked about the they call it something now.
I can't remember what they call it.
The sound, the echo, they call it something. I can't remember the word, but they reinvented green screen. It doesn't exist anymore as far as a green screen behind you and you acting with nothing. It is a full set behind you of already rendered technology, already rendered scenes, so the actors feel like they are in those scenes rather than having to pretend to act that they are looking at a big monster. He's there, and it's amazing.
Yeah, because usually you would shoot it on a green screen or a blue screen.
They call it the volume.
And all of that would be done in post.
Right.
So like Mike said, an actor at best would have someone in a green outfit, like say, okay, Jar Jar for instance.
Right.
Jar Jar was very tall, so they had to look up to see his eye line. Mm-hmm. So Ahmed Best had to wear a helmet that had makeshift eyes up here for them to actually have something to have an eye level for.
Right.
There's a scene that was cut actually from Phantom Menace. Flying creatures were flying at Liam Neeson. Mm-hmm. They're throwing green balls at him. Just so because you can tell if an actor's eyes are not locked on an actual object, if they're just moving their eyes around, you can tell it's fake. With this, you get the full lighting effect, and the Mandalorian with his Beskar armor is highly reflective. That would be very rough if you're doing green or blue screen to then try and apply that. You'd have to texture matte that. This way, you get the full lighting effect, you get light wrap, you get those reflections, and you have creatures that the actors can actually see and react to.
They're in the environment. I encourage you, even if you're not a Star Wars fan or if you're not a Mandalorian fan, which I can't imagine that, even if you're just a casual movie fan, check out this episode. It's called Technology of the show called Disney Gallery on Disney Plus, and it is amazing. It will shape, much like the things Lucas did in the 70s, it will shape movies for years and years to come, okay? Everything is going to move towards that as soon as they can afford it. Right now, it's just Disney.
Well, actually, the great thing is, normally, anything like, okay, say Industrial Light and Magic creates this thing. Mm-hmm. It's theirs.
Right.
It doesn't go outside to Lightning or any other place. In this case, they did invite other studios in, shared the technology freely.
Wow.
So I
didn't know that.
I think we will start seeing more and more of this going forward.
Yeah, it is amazing. So check that out. It's great. Disney Plus has, they started off with their launch and The Mandalorian and a lot of old material, but they're slowly getting in more and more new stuff. We're going to have new episodes of The Mandalorian, I think, in October.
Last I heard was October, yeah.
Yeah, October. So that's not that far away. So far, between your Disney Plus and your HBO Max and anything else new that I'm not thinking of, it seems to be getting its feet under it in order to be a real challenge to Netflix at some point in the near future. One sad thing to talk about real quick is we did have a famous death, a celebrity death, and that was Sir Ian Holm. Very sad. A lot of you will know him from Alien as the robot, the synthesoid.
I just had the name.
The android, not Bishop.
No, it's not Bishop. That's the one I always think of.
But
Drake?
I don't know.
I know, that's aliens as well.
Who turned out to be as scary as the actual alien itself. He was, as much a villain in that show as anybody, because he was, kind of turning on the crew. So him there, and one of the biggest scare moments for me in real life, in history, for me watching movies, which is many, 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 was in Lord of the Rings. man, when he's talking to Frodo and his face changes, I crap my pants. Okay, I'm just gonna say it. All right, I dropped a dookie right there. I could not believe that's how because it was so out of the blue. It was so unexpected. It was.
Yeah, because you don't think Lord of the Rings, you don't associate that with jump scares.
No, not at all. And especially a nice little scene like that with the uncle and the nephew and oh my gosh, probably one of the best kept secrets, and one of the best scary moments of any horror movie or not show I've ever seen. So. Sorry to the fans of Ian Holm. He was, beyond the geeky stuff that we know from, he's an accomplished British actor and probably a nice guy, because he's British.
Is that a thing?
I don't know. Is it? Most British people are very nice. I don't know. I don't know any British people. I don't know any British people. I dated a British girl one time. That was it. I will tell you, one of my favorite characters in the whole Buffyverse is Wesley Wyndham-Pryce. I really like that character. He has a complete arc from even his time at Buffy. I digress. Let's move on.
He did grow a lot from Buffy to Angel.
He did. I really like that character. I'm actually almost finished with another, probably, I'm going to conservatively say my 6th rewatch of Buffy, and I'm at the end of season 6 right now, actually. So I've got one more season to go, but I really feel like season 6 of Buffy, I know you don't care, it's my time! The 6th season of Buffy is the best season of Buffy to me. So much happens. Oh, man. Xander leaves Anya at the altar, okay? We get Dark Willow, obviously, okay? Tara gets shot, which leads to Dark Willow. You get Spike's journey going from... okay, that's enough. Hey, did you watch the Cobra Kai? Did you watch that when it was on the Netflix?
I did not.
I tell you what, I watched the first season and I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it for what it was. I knew what it was. I knew it was almost like a student film. It was very low key but still well made. And they did a second season. But here just this week they announced that Netflix is picking up all of Cobra Kai and going to release a 3rd season of Cobra Kai. So for those of you that are Daniel LaRusso fans, okay, Johnny. Nope.
Got nothing.
Nope. Johnny fans? Because I didn't know either. I was waiting for you to say the name, and then I was like, that's right. That would confirm that's who it was and make you think that I knew who it was, and I don't know who it was.
Actually, I probably will watch it now because it's going to be on Netflix.
Okay.
The fact that it was on YouTube, that
right.
kind of is what
kept
me away from it.
Yeah. I don't know anybody that does YouTube Red. I honestly don't. They should, they're making plenty of money doing what they do. I think they should just stay in their lane on that.
Are they discontinuing?
Are they? Maybe they are.
I thought they were. Maybe not.
Anyway, it's a good show. Definitely worth watching for the nostalgia value of seeing those two guys again, and it's a fun show. Is the Cobra Kai. Speaking of shows though, and coming back and et cetera, there's a show on Showtime, oddly enough, called Penny Dreadful. And I really enjoyed the first go around. I think it was 3 seasons of Penny Dreadful. It was a little slow going, and it's something I'm so surprised that Sean hasn't watched because it's right up his alley with the cowboy in Old English time and fighting bad things and stuff like that. That's right up his alley. But he hasn't watched it. Like many things that I try to recommend to him, he doesn't do it because more than likely it's because I recommend.
Penny Dreadful is wonderful.
It is. It's great. So now we jump forward and we have a new Penny Dreadful. I don't know, and I've only seen the first episode. You said you've seen more. I don't know if there's any callbacks or anything to the first series, but this is a completely new story. So you're saying it's in name only type of thing, but. The name Penny Dreadful itself is the name of like these old like dime store type novels, scary stories, scary books of stories and whatnot. And
every story was completely self-contained.
Right, they were a penny, I assume. So that's what this is. This is another story. This one, Natalie Dormer is the biggest star in there probably. Yeah. And I watched the first episode and I liked it quite a bit.
It's definitely a different take. Mm-hmm. If you go in expecting what you had in the first go-round, not so much. Because there you had different variations of the classic monsters, the werewolf, the vampire. Here, Natalie Dormer is a tour de force because she's playing 1, two, three, four different characters.
Wow.
And the transformation she goes through for each one, it's believable. And essentially, she is your big bad.
Right.
She is. You have two warring factions. You have the goddess of death and her sister. I'm not sure exactly what she's meant to represent.
Right.
The goddess of death is supposed to. Something happened. Her heart was broken, so she stays hands off of humanity. Doesn't interfere. Sister, on the other hand, it's like, all right, I'm going to destroy all these humans that you love so much. So she's playing different roles, and just like there's a guy, he came from Germany, and this is 1935, 1938 in Los Angeles.
Right.
So we've yet to hit World War II, but Nazism is on the rise.
So much so that there, and I saw in the first episode anyway, that there are guys in the park holding court, talking about communist socialism and talking about. He doesn't say the word Nazi, I don't think, because I'm not sure it's a actual thing yet. But he's talking about all the ideals that that the Nazi Party anyway is going to embrace, and just trying to gather Angelinos in and you know what I'm talking about, sir. When you're afraid at night and got to lock your doors. Who locks the doors nowadays? That type of thing. It's that part was very interesting to me. But I do look forward to seeing
again. This is another. Penny Dreadful is another one that this version Sean should watch as well, because you have Nazis.
Right.
They've gotten into LA, and they're trying to. They've got a goal they're trying to do, and you've got one of the detectives. You have two main detectives. One is Jewish, older guy, and then you've got the new guy on the job who's Hispanic.
Who's the older guy? I don't remember his face now, but he's like regular. Oh, it's Nathan Lane.
Yes, he's great in the role.
He is good.
So him and his Jewish friends are caught wise to what the Nazis are up to.
Right.
Nazis off 2 of his buddies, so he's declaring war.
Right.
So he goes to a Jewish gangster, gets in bed with him, and then you've got the Hispanic cop who doesn't really fit in. Hispanic people are like,
he wants to be a cop. He wants to be true to the badge, et cetera, but also he's Hispanic. He has his culture, and they're being encroached upon by construction or something.
They're trying to build a highway, which is going to just completely displace.
So he's torn from the very beginning.
Yeah. So I mean, you've got just race riots. You've got the Nazis trying to move in, and you've got this Natalie Dormer demon pulling strings, just kind of nudging people.
It's very layered.
Yeah.
It's very layered, and the one I watched was good. I like to watch things 2 or 3 at a time, so I'm going to wait until a few more are out, and then I'll watch a bunch of it, and I'm looking forward to it. But again, it's another pay show on Showtime, I believe. Anyway, Penny Dreadful. Another show that just debuted, I think last week, is HBO's remake of Perry Mason. Now I barely remember Perry Mason reruns. I'm not that old, but I do remember seeing the black and whites with of course, Ironsides. Who's Perry Mason? Son of a gun!
I just had it in my head.
Who is Perry Mason? Somebody's yelling his name right now.
It'll be on the screen right here.
Yeah. I remember that old show, and I thought in that show, Perry Mason was a lawyer. Is that okay? Well, in this one, he's not a lawyer, and this is a remake set in the same time frame. So you have, I'm not sure it's prohibition, but you have definitely a tampered down idea of fun and frivolity for sure. It's all very gray. It's all very muted tones. But in this one, he's a private detective, and it's a lot rougher, and definitely not. It's not 1950s TV for sure, and we don't see anything like that. But it was good, and like a lot of these pilots, it's more than an hour long, but. There's only been 1 hour out yet. I was wondering if it was going to be Perry Mason-esque, and it's going to be procedural hourly show, a different story every hour, every week. But it doesn't seem to be. It seems to be a continuing story. So I'm not sure how many episodes we're going to get, because again, it's only been on a week, but it's definitely worth watching.
The soundtrack. The first soundtrack's already out, and it's listed as Chapter 1.
Okay.
So I don't know if they're in Chapter 1, 2.
I see.
And when this was first announced, Robert Downey Jr.'s name was attached.
Really?
So I was thinking, the old show, and then him just kind of redoing it. I had no interest.
Right.
So when the first trailer came out, there's no Robert Downey Jr. to be seen.
Right.
Although I think he is still listed as a producer credit or something. But initially, it made it sound as though he was going to be Perry Mason. It's not the case, and set in a different time era. So now, yeah, I'm interested. I'm going to tune in.
Yeah, it's the guy from. Doing. You know what? Let me tell you something. When Fat Boy's sitting there, I know everything. Okay, I got all the names. They line up. Pow, 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 okay, right now I can't think of anything. The show that was on FX where there was a married Russian couple that were spies and they were Americans.
The Americans.
Okay, the Americans. It's that guy. He's Perry Mason. I'm sorry, I don't know his name. Yeah, it was enjoyable. It was beautifully shot and really immersed in the era. But you should check it out if you're able.
I'm gonna.
If you're able. Last thing I have, and I don't know where we are on time, but the last thing I have is
We have 4.5 minutes.
the news that came out a few days ago that Michael Keaton was in talks to appear in the upcoming Flash movie. Now, that Flash movie is not even in pre-production yet. It's, as far as I know, last I knew, I'm not sure they had a director because they've gone through several.
I thought they had begun initial pre-production, and then right then was when COVID-19 hit.
Regardless, studios are making plans. Marvel's making plans. DC's making plans. And the plan, they're talking about Michael Keaton portraying an elderly Batman or Bruce Wayne, probably Bruce Wayne, in this Flash movie, which lends credence to the talk, the theory, or whatever you want to say, that we're going to see maybe not Flashpoint, but Barry is going to travel back in time to try to save his mother. Okay, number one, we saw this on CW. I don't know if they did that in the comics or not.
I'm wondering if the CW, that whole thing of having him make an appearance, made them go, wait a minute. We've changed Batmans.
Right.
We've had multiple Jokers. What if we can make that all make sense?
Yeah. If they introduce the multiverse, which they have, here's the thing they already have. Flash introduced the multiverse in probably the second season, I think, in that there's Earth 2 and 26 and 19 and all the numbers, and so it's not beyond. Marvel is going to introduce the multiverse here soon. DC's had it for a while, and especially the TV shows have had it for a while. So, okay, that's fine. But, man, it better be good, okay? Because if you're going to retell the same story, it better be something a little different, and it better be good. The thing with Michael Keaton is that fans, since I'll say modern DC movies have really started rolling what we call the DCEU anyway, people have been clamoring for live-action Batman Beyond.
Yep.
And from the get, people have said Michael Keaton as elderly Bruce Wayne.
Yep.
Okay, so that's what I'm reading from what I consider to be a really good source. In that it's not a huge role he's going to have in Flash. It'll be there, but it'll be to set up a Batman Beyond in I think they said 2023, and also to set him up as kind of a character that floats around, kind of like Marvel's Nick Fury, that's in several of the movies, several of the franchises, and comes in and makes an appearance here and there. I don't know how that's going to happen or how that's going to work, but that's just what I'm reading anyway.
Well, then there's also Henry Cavill. Apparently, is also not going to have another. He's not going to be Man of Steel 2, but he'll be making appearances to kind of be that link.
Man, that is the best way to use Superman. Okay, we've seen Henry Cavill Superman beat up on his Kryptonian counterparts, okay, and get in a fight with what was the big bad in Justice League, whatever that thing was called. Number one, Apocalypse, or not Apocalypse.
Steppenwolf.
Yeah, Steppenwolf, and in BVS. Doomsday. Okay, you're not going to get beyond those guys. Okay, maybe if he
Brainiac at best.
Yeah, and that's got to be a different fight. Okay, that can't be toe to toe smashing cities and stuff. That's got to be something different altogether. So using Superman in that kind of a salting him in here and there on different projects is much better to me than having another Superman. Okay, having a Superman Man of Steel 2. I really loved Man of Steel. I thought it was great.
I did too.
I didn't like the city smashing at the end. But other than that, I thought it was great. But you can't have your unstoppable force, your immovable object, appear all the time, because what are you going to do? What are you going to throw at him? There's only so many cosmic big bads that you can throw at this guy, okay? And nobody wants to see more waves of gray minions rolling over the hills and coming at people. We've seen it, and we're done with it. So use him sparingly when it has to, and he's open to that. He's got other stuff going on. He's an actor, okay? He's doing other things. Henry Cavill is going to be okay.
I mean, he's doing The Witcher,
which is great. So use him sparingly in a role like that, in which he'll pop in and out of different projects. That's fine with me.
I think that's the way to go.
Yeah.
It lends a bit of weight to some of these other characters you might not be that aware of. So you may go in thinking, well, Superman's in it, I'm going to go see that, and then you come to find out that character that he's in this movie with is pretty cool.
Just a final comparison. Let's just say Batman were real in the real world. Okay, we're not talking about he's on lunchboxes and we see him in the movies. We're talking about if he was here today. Okay, part of his mystique is he really real? You know, I hear rumors about a guy in a bat suit flying around and stopping bad guys, but I've never seen him. Have you ever seen him? No, I haven't seen him. My cousin said he saw him. That's the type of thing that lends to his mystique. Okay, in the comics anyway, is that not everybody believes he's real. Not everybody believes he's the thing. He's the boogeyman. So you take that and give it a kind of a good-natured twist towards not being necessarily scary, but being not on billboards and not on lunchboxes. Superman should be the thing that when he shows up, you're like, oh my gosh, or you're like, oh thank goodness, thank goodness he's here. Instead of he's been here all the time. Where have you been? Why didn't you stop the flood? Why didn't you stop the bank robbery? He should be salted in. Anyway, that's it. All right, that's it for this week. Mike, anything else you'd like to talk about?
I got nothing.
Okay. We'll be back next week. I'm not sure who'll be here. It depends on who has an alarm clock and who decides to wake up in the morning.
Actually,
so, what?
We will not be back next week.
We're not going to be back next week. I knew that.
It'll be the week after.
The week after that. I know many of you are clamoring for information. Check out the GeekStorm Facebook page. We always try to post things up on there when they come around. And again, come on down to downtown Kokomo, 111 East Sycamore, 121 East Sycamore, and all these stores on Geek Street. If you're watching this show and you even mildly enjoy this show, you'll enjoy every store on this street.
Guaranteed.
Have a great week.